What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast. We're a garbage heap on fire this week. I am your host, Jeremiah. Tonight I am joined by Dave, the not-so-evil Viking 13.
I'm muting my phone right now, I promise.
I am also joined by James.
What's up, and welcome, a weird stranger, for showing up in the chat and getting YouTube to work this week.
Gosh, your nose is so brown already. Also, filling in for Joel this week as he's out pretending to work on Norman, but really playing video games, is Debbie.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the show, Debbie.
Thank you.
For anyone who has joined us since the last time Debbie was on, I guess maybe like 10 episodes ago or something.
Has it really been that long?
I don't know. They go past really
4.
fast. Guys, this is episode 124. I feel like episode 100 was like just recently. Which reminds me, there's still something I haven't added to the website that I said I was going to do in episode 100.
Hey, me too.
Yeah. Anyway, Debbie does some behind the scenes stuff. She does some social media and she helps organize events. And she's really like the 5th member of Casual Shenanigans Gaming. She just doesn't like to come on the podcast as often. She's also
I don't like to. I'm just too busy for you people. I'm earning.
All right. Yes. She's also, technically I'm the leader in our GTA crew. I should probably promote you.
Yeah, I think that should happen soon.
Yeah.
Let's compare hours. Let's compare hours and see who gets to have
I have
that
203. Debbie has 400 and how many?
Let me check.
When was that last? Was that like a week ago? She could have like 500 now.
409.
409 hours in GTA 5. So, yeah. And also,
Hold on, the calculator is happening right now. 409?
Oh, I thought you don't do math, Dave. That's
I'm
interesting.
doing math for this. That's 17 straight days of Grand Theft Auto for 2015.
You are one to talk, Dave.
Since April.
Since
You're one to
April.
talk. Joel and I went through your game catalog and added up all of your hours one time. It was pretty
You could have
pathetic.
just done Total War and you would have been set.
I mean, it was like a few 1,000-hour games. We're like, holy crap.
Also, you guys are really creepy.
Dave, I like your beard this week.
Okay.
Doesn't everybody like Dave's beard?
Keep being creepy. You carry on.
James, stop trying to
John's
get the
beard
chat
is
involved
bigger.
about beards. James you wanted the chat to get involved in my haircut too. You got a weird thing about hair and the public, man. I don't really understand it yet. I know. That's the face I keep making every time you come up with some new ridiculous thing.
Well, if I were deliberating about a haircut for like 3 months straight, I guess I would want to get other opinions involved too.
Well, maybe you're not used to having an adventurous hairstyle that requires a little forethought and planning, but whatever. You also have a great beard, and I'm jealous. The Seal Slappers, our GTA crew, we're up to 98 people.
Holy moly, we need 2 more.
Blows my mind. You guys stay tuned. There might be a community event getting announced. All I'm going to say is there are GTA updates that have been announced that Debbie will be talking about more later in the show, and they might be incredible because it's basically what I've been waiting for since the game came out. But we'll see. Announcements. We should go ahead and start with those. I can already feel that the show is going to be weird. The Lootcast is December 22nd. The Lootcast is our Spirit of Christmas episode where we talk about everything that's really important. And that is, of course, loot and what dirty, dirty loot whores most of the members of the podcast are. Dave, just so you know, the timestamp thing is on the right. The thing on the left is the time marker for when we're supposed to start that segment. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the Lootcast is December 22nd. If you weren't here last year, that's where we have trivia, we give away games, we talk about our dirty loot horror stories from the past year, and basically it's an excuse for us to give out games and party with you guys, and it's always a lot of fun. So
We also have a cool story for you guys.
We do.
As soon as I read it.
Yep, I wasn't going to promote that because I hadn't heard anything about it in a couple days. But yes, we have a cool story.
It's happening.
Now
It's
that
happening.
James has said it publicly, it's happening. Thanks, Dave. I can read that now. So it's a celebration of the wonder of loot. Please join us December 22nd at 8 p.m. Some of the games we'll be giving away may or may not include Fallout 4, Rocket League, Witcher 3, and other assorted prizes.
So
That's a lot
basically
of
the last three games I played. Yeah.
Now, if you want a chance to win these, we have a Teamspeak server. It is in the description of every single podcast, audio and
It's
video.
like right here. Wait, here.
Right there. Go a little
I
far
love,
there.
I love when they do that in videos. They're like, it's going to be right here. And it's like,
The video guy's like, crap, they pointed there. I got to try. Oh, yeah, that doesn't really make sense. All right. But the TeamSpeak address is in there, and you guys need to be hanging out in TeamSpeak. There will be a lobby for you to hang out in that, like, if you want to win games, stay here. It'll be named something along those lines. And you're going to hang out in there, and then you will have the chance to be pulled in, and we will ask you some Christmas trivia questions. And if you get enough of them right, we'll give you games. If you get them wrong, we might still give you games. So check out our TeamSpeak. It's 2 weeks. Well, it's not really 2 weeks from today because today's a Thursday, and we're doing it on a Tuesday because Thursday would be Christmas Eve, and we're not going to do a podcast on Christmas Eve.
Debbie and I are going to do a live cast on Thursday, just singing Christmas carols. If anybody wants to join.
Yep. Just we're gonna be caroling, and we'll have hot cocoa, and come join us.
You're just trying to think of something to say before drinking, so it doesn't sound like that's your entire plan.
We're not
It all
very
leads
nice.
to drinking.
Am I wrong?
No.
All right.
That Irish cocoa.
No, they made Debbie made me a lime Perrier vodka the other day. The calorie count is really low. The taste count is really high. It was very tasty. I greatly enjoyed it. And Shane, you're definitely going to have a few of those when you're in town. But
Don't forget to add vodka.
add more vodka. All right. Shall we proceed with the show? This is such a train wreck. Okay. We want to thank people who've pledged to us on Patreon. This week, someone pledged. And did anyone want to volunteer to do the voice? They didn't request a voice, but someone, James, do you want to do it?
Debbie's going to do the voice.
I don't have
I'm
it
going to pick
open.
it. I'm going to pick it.
What do
Well,
I
all you have to say is, thank you,
thank
MoarPye.
them. Well, now you said his name. That's kind of you gotta thank him for
Oh,
pledging.
you ruined it. Spoilers.
oh no, because
Not the spoilers.
all right, I want you to do your best British street trash
No.
voice.
No.
Yes.
Don't
No,
ask me to do accents.
I need this. I need you to do this for later. This is your audition.
Oh, for her part in the thing.
I can do what you want in the part, but I can't do what you want right now.
What?
Can we just use actual nouns things like I can't do the voice that you're asking for on the podcast? You have to be so vague.
Okay.
Anything but that.
Can you
James.
just
thank
do
the
a couple
person
goat
normally,
sounds?
Thank the person.
MoarPye,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We appreciate it. You're the best. You're our best friend.
All right. Perfect.
we-
Thanks, MoarPye, for pledging.
Just do the goats. Do the goat sound, and it'll make up for it.
It's always good. Okay. So thank you for everyone who supports us on Patreon. Patreon pays for the mics, the lights, the website hosting, the TeamSpeak hosting, all kinds of things. And it'll pay for other things in the future when we come up with stuff to spend it on. Right now, it's funding my coffee habit. But it's now time to move on to the main topic. James, you can't just exactly. You can't just decide not to do it sometimes. You either do it or you don't. Okay, so
Main topic time.
don't you normally do like a main topic time or something, or is that just the other?
No, that's never happened.
Yeah, that's never happened.
Seriously, we have a song for all the others, but not main topic.
Occasionally, I'll do like the weird disembodied computer voice, like main topic.
Okay.
I kind of imagine it like a Command and Conquer UI voice.
Our topic tonight is betas. Betas are a really awesome way that a company can break their game with hundreds or thousands of people testing it before it comes out. So when those hundreds and thousands of people buy the game, it's hopefully less broken because they've learned lessons from when those people broke it a couple weeks ago. So betas are cool, but betas sometimes might hurt a game more than they help it. We'll use a recent example. Rainbow Six Siege, when it came out on its first, well, everyone was excited when we first saw the first trailer, right? It looked like it was going to be Left 4 Dead, but Rainbow Six, hostage taking, everything else, like Counter-Strike, but not quite as dopey as Counter-Strike is about the whole hostage rescue thing. Looked really cool. And then the first beta came out, and Dave and I, like a lot of friends who are YouTubers, a lot of people like got keys, were sharing stuff, talking to each other, and everyone pretty universally did not enjoy it. Do you remember that, Dave? Yeah, it was apparently pretty rough. Like netcode issues, just stuttering issues, not very fun, all kinds of things. And they've had 3 betas did they have before it released? I think they had 3, at least 2.
Yeah, it was an alpha, and then at least one more
alpha,
beta.
yeah.
I think there were 2 waves of beta, like a closed and then an open beta, right?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I think so.
So it was like alpha, then 2 betas.
And people didn't like it when the first I guess alpha came out. Now it got a little bit better each successive one, but when the game came out, everyone went into it thinking, "Oh, this is Rainbow Six, the game I've been hearing sucks for a year." And if you pay attention to YouTube comments and everything, if you just go to GameStop and pick out new games that come out, you don't know anything about this. But if you're the type of person who paid attention to the betas or played the betas, when the game came out, apparently it's actually really good. It works really well. It's pretty fun. It doesn't have a ton of content, but what's there plays really well, and it's kind of unique compared to the other multiplayer shooters that have come out. But all of us were in the same boat of all we've heard about it is from people who've played it, people we know and trust. It's not very good. It's not very fun. It's got issues, yada, yada, yada. So our impression going into it, were you guys' impression was that the game was not good? That's what mine was. I mean, what were you guys thinking when it released?
I was not paying attention anymore, basically, because I'd heard so much already. I just had tuned it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But apparently it's a really good game.
Yeah.
Likewise, The Division's not even out yet. The Division, we've seen 2 cinematic trailers, 1 gameplay trailer, like maybe 2 gameplay trailers.
3 E3 events with
3
the
E3
Division.
events.
3.
Right.
Yeah, that's...
No one has played The Division yet. No one we know has played The Division yet.
Well, they played it on stage for us.
Well, no, but I mean the beta's been delayed, and everyone's impression now is The Division's going to suck. Like the internet has turned against The Division. The Division's going to suck. It's been delayed. Blah 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 blah. Will The Division ever be out? Noah R asks in chat right now, helping to prove the point. So this is a game that none of us have played. None of us have really seen for longer than 5 minutes at a time, but the public perception has already turned against it because what they've shown us, the first bit was impressive, and then after that, it just hasn't been that impressive. Mm-hmm. So our topic tonight is, do betas hurt games' reputations? Are they necessary? Why are they necessary? And can they help or hurt a game's reputation before it releases, and is it worth it? So, does anyone have any thoughts they'd like to start with?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to actually use DayZ as an example too.
It's a good one.
Surprise. Because I think DayZ is an even more interesting example in some ways because the game that they're making has changed because of the beta process, but there's definitely a lot of PR flack that they've taken because of the public-facing development time that they've had. In early access, not just a beta test, you honestly cannot get the amount of user testing that you can get with a public beta. I mean, obviously that kind of scale, the range of systems that are tested, the different networks, it's a huge amount of data that you can get. But to do so, you kind of have to expose a lot of internal development that really a lot of the public just can't handle. The stuff that goes on in really early alphas and stuff like that. And so while you do get some fantastic testing that you wouldn't normally be able to get or maybe even afford to get, you're going to take a hit on public relations and the public perception of your game almost every time. I've seen it for DayZ, I've seen it for Rust, even Prison Architect, which came out recently and is a fantastic game, had a long, slow, rough period of early access.
I played it like 2.5 years ago, I think, for the first time.
And a lot of people just couldn't handle the bugs. And so if that's the only time that they played it, now the game is great, but they might have written it off. And what happens if someone asks them about the game and they've technically played it? They're going to talk about it, sure. Like, oh yeah, I played Prison Architect. It was real glitchy and it's not my thing. You do pay the PR penalty.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's more beneficial for a game like that, like DayZ or any one of those games that you listed, to do limited beta access?
I think DayZ.
I know with DayZ they got just crazy cash flow influx because of releasing it that allowed them to put stuff in the game that would not have been there. But yeah, I'll play it when it comes out later. But I don't see them having nearly the hype when it officially releases that it did when it first launched standalone.
I mean, definitely not. We were like in on the ground floor of DayZ. I mean, we were.
Yeah.
Dave had some of the most popular early DayZ videos. We were like the first big DayZ community event. I think was Dave's church service thing. And now, I mean, how often do we play DayZ or talk about DayZ? It's not that it's not fun. We have. I mean, each of us has what, an average of 600-700 hours between the mod and standalone. I mean, we've played a lot of DayZ, but that's kind of the problem now. I'm like, I don't want to play any more beta. Like, I mean, it's not even in beta. Like, I don't want to play any more early access. I just want the game. Like, I don't even care if they went away and took it offline. Bring it back when it's done. I feel like they spend so much time backtracking to fix stuff that people are finding in the live tests. Like, that has to be holding them back from pushing forward in development because they have to fix the stable patches when they hit the stable branch. Like, they've spent so much time fixing stuff that's got to be slowing them down. And this never-ending feedback loop of people, I think this is going to be so far removed from the original vision of the game by the time it's completed, just because people are going to be giving their opinion for years, like years of straight opinions, which is not like that can help fix problems you didn't know the game had, but that does mean that the vision's probably going to be compromised. So for DayZ, I think it helped the game at first because no one would know about the game if you couldn't have bought it when it was in early access. Like, no one would know about it or care about it. But I think long term, I think DayZ has already sold all the copies it's going to sell. Like, it'll sell a few more on console, of course. But I think when it actually releases, it's going to be like a drop in the water. People are going to go, okay. Like,
I kind of want to bet on that on a side note because Joel thinks the same thing. I think it's actually going to get about another 40% in sales after launch.
It sold
in the
like
year
40?
after launch.
It sold like 3.5 million already.
Are you talking about consoles or are you talking about PC?
I'm talking about just PC.
I don't know, man.
40%.
I'm trying to get the current number of accounts on the website. I don't see they've changed the website's design like everything else with DayZ. It's been updated.
So let's say it's at 3 million. So we're gonna have official podcast historian Shane is gonna remember this for us if he doesn't mind. So let's say it's at 3 million. You're saying you think when after it releases, the 12 months after the game officially releases, it's gonna sell an additional 1.5 million copies.
Yeah.
And we'll modify that to be 40% more than whatever it's at when the game releases in 10 years. And it's sold like 15 million early access copies. I'm
looking here, 30 days after the alpha went live, they had 3 million sales in a month. So it's got to be like 4.5, 5 million now.
Okay. I mean, you might be right. I think most of the people who wanted to play that game have played it at this point.
Can we put something on this bet?
Nope.
Dave, are you glad
Are
you
you
didn't
willing to
change
bet your
name?
beard on that, Dave?
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. Your beard's great. You can get it back in what, like a week, 2 weeks?
This is like a month.
A month? Are you kidding me?
Well, it is a lot fuller. Like, that's not the normal beard.
I've only trimmed it a little bit, you know.
I know.
And redder.
Yeah.
It is getting redder. It's
Which
the
is
inner
weird.
Pirate in me. It's just
Or something.
Inner leprechaun.
So Dave,
inner lumberjack.
what would you put on this? What would you put on this?
I don't know. I'll have to give it some thought, but I was talking to Joel about this a bit today and about the overall process, and I think both DayZ and Rust are really unique examples of not just the beta process, but the early access process, because both Rust and DayZ would not exist in their current forms, which they're both in the rebuilding the engine stage and expanding the scope of the game stage. They would not exist in that stage without their early access sales. So they basically have exchanged public relations point and pure fan anger and angst for a much bigger and hopefully what appears to be better game for both Rust and DayZ. It's a really unusual situation for them to be in, which is why I think that at the end of the road, wherever that end of the road might be, we're going to have some games that no studio is going to be able to come close to competing with for a while, just because of the scope of both Rust and DayZ, which is why I think they're going to sell so well, is because there's just going to be nothing else that big and available out there. I mean, H1Z1 is kind of floundering right now. They're where DayZ was in December 2013. Mm-hmm. They're having zombie issues, desync issues, the map's too small, they're having issues expanding the game, and they're having to look at, okay, how do we break the engine down and expand from here? That's where DayZ was after launch, when they made some good sales, but then said, we can't do much with what we have, we've got to tear it down and rebuild it again. So H1Z1, if it ever gets to a point where it can compete with Rust and DayZ, that's a ways out. So if DayZ makes it into beta by next summer, even, it's going to have a year or two on the market, even just on PC, of it kind of being the only game in town.
Until Rockstar releases another DLC for free with zombies.
That could happen. But even that wouldn't cannibalize DayZ sales too much, I think, because DayZ leans more into the simulator side of things just a bit, just enough that it's different enough that I don't think that GTA 5 Zombies would cannibalize it that much.
Okay. Now, what do you guys think about a game like Titanfall? A game that not a ton of people were talking about, other than it's like Call of Duty with mechs or something. But then the beta came out and it was awesome, and tons of people started playing it, and Titanfall absolutely exploded. Why do you think that was different? What do you think was different about Titanfall's beta that helped it?
They let it cook in the oven more.
That's my opinion. It came out, what, like a month and a half before the game released? Something like that?
And I think people have, if there's so many different versions of beta, like a lot of people's betas are pretty much alpha or pre-alpha even.
Yeah.
Titanfall worked when it hit beta. So it was really like beta / open multiplayer weekend for people to hop in and play. Like, I don't really remember there being any significant issues during the beta. So all it did was get people excited. Now, you have to assume they were pretty confident it would work when they put it into beta, because they waited till it was so close before the game's launch and stuff. I'm assuming they were doing closed testing themselves. But that's not the case most of the time. Like, most people don't come away from betas going, oh my goodness, this is going to be incredible.
They had a big push behind it because it was supposed to be a launch window game for Xbox One. So I think their leeway to get it right or wrong was very narrow. That pretty much would have screwed over Xbox One had it been a really bad beta launch.
Yeah, Xbox One, just good thing Titanfall came out. It really just took off and ran away.
I do know people that wanted the Xbox One because it was going to have Titanfall.
Oh yeah, Titanfall was a killer IP.
PS4.
Yeah, PS4 didn't really have the same type of killer IP when it first launched. Like it had Infamous First Light, and it had Shadowfall and stuff, but I didn't hear anybody talking about those like they talked about Titanfall. Now, granted, most of the people I knew talking about Titanfall were talking about it on the PC, but I know people
who hang out on Reddit, Master Race.
But I know people who were talking about it on the Xbox One too, and it did definitely seem to have a bit of mind share. But so its beta was definitely good. So what do you think a game? Now that's the thing though. You can say like, what should a game do to have a good beta? But you don't really know what they need in a beta.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, talking about Titanfall, the beta that they had for Titanfall was a beta to test network features and to test and prep for the launch of the game. That game was locked down. They knew design-wise what they wanted, and the game was basically complete. They used it for like weapon balancing, for network stuff, and for patching. That wasn't like a, hey guys, help us shape the development of Titanfall. It was, hey guys, help us have a good launch for Titanfall, the game that we've almost finished. It was a very, very complete beta. Compared to stuff like DayZ and Rust, where like they're pinging off of different development milestones and shifting direction entirely based off of feedback and testing of the games.
Now, what do you think about the fact people are talking about this in chat right now? We were pretty harsh on the Battlefront beta.
That was going to be my contribution to this conversation.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it felt really empty. Again, not playing like any of the Battlefield games, I didn't know what to expect necessarily going to the game, but from playing the other Battlefront games, I was a little let down. It just seemed kind of, okay, this has got a great polished package, but it feels almost soulless. So I had no desire to play the game after the beta, and then you guys ended up playing it and raving about it, so it's on its way. It'll be here tomorrow from Gamefly.
Woo!
Yay.
Star Wars. I mean, yeah, for Battlefront, I played it, and honestly, on PC in the beta, it was just what I expected. It was fun. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but it was pretty shallow, and I wasn't convinced that I would play it that much. But I bought a launch day copy on PS4 just to nerd out with Joel, because he is the biggest Star Wars nerd that I
You would have gotten your
know.
money's worth just listening to him.
I would have paid $60 just to sit next to Joel on the couch as he tried out like the flight squadron mode for the first time.
Don't sit too close.
Yeah, maybe behind the couch. Safety zone. And the game still remains very shallow and is a little low on content, But what's impressed me is that everything worked from day one. There was no network issues. Thanks, I would bet, in large part to the betas of Battlefield 4 and the Battlefront beta and all their, the early access or the experimental mode for Battlefield 4 on PC. What is it called? The community testing environment.
Where they're trying to fix the game over 2 years after release.
And they have. It works. The process works.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, in this case, I guess it's good they did fix it, but I wouldn't be like super impressed. They did go back and finish the game several years after the game released to the public, but
finished and improved on. I mean, they didn't have to take the servers to 60 hertz. 30 should have been the target from the beginning, but they did actually iterate and improve based off of the community feedback. But just going back to Battlefront, what they ended up with was a shallow-ish but very, very polished game. And seeing we're not playing any other shooters right now, that's all I needed. It's Star Wars, and it works. It's a lot of fun.
Debbie, you were super excited about H1Z1.
Yeah.
Which again is alpha and not technically beta. When I say beta, I do also mean kind of alpha. Do you still follow H1Z1 development or anything, or has playing it kind of turned you off to playing it?
I'm keeping a side eye on it. I hopped in it like a month ago, and while I wanted to discover like the new features they've added since like 6 months ago, I wasn't feeling it just because the user base was just obnoxious hackers, and it just wasn't for me anymore. I feel like maybe once they have a completed game with anti-cheat and everything on there, it might be better. But for now, I'm just gonna let it sit there and develop.
You're at the same place we're at with DayZ, where kind of just pop in if they do something significant. Until then, we'll just wait.
Yep,
there were a few uncomfortable times when we'd mention something negative against H1Z1, and Debbie should go into fangirl mode.
Well, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
And now it's just
I mean, Dave defended DayZ for Dave. It took a long time to turn Dave's ship around on the DayZ alpha.
Was my ship turned around? No one notified the captain.
No, because at first, like we were so optimistic. The first couple of weeks of the standalone's release, they were releasing patch after patch after patch. We're like, wow, and then like a year later, it's like, still the same major issues it had. And at first, you were like, oh no, but they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, and now you are like, well. Yeah, I mean, they're talking about this. This looks cool. This art stuff, you get more excited about art stuff now, which is all, the art team's been killing it this entire time.
They've had plenty of time to kill it.
But you're definitely a lot less excited about the day-to-day minutia of DayZ development, because it has been this giant seesaw of problems.
What I've learned is that DayZ's development is consistent in that it eventually adds neat things, but at a glacier pace. So I just rather wait and see when it comes to DayZ. But hearing Debbie talk about H1Z1 in the last few months, I've actually kind of been keeping an eye on the subreddit over on Reddit, and it really reminds me of the first few months over on DayZ's subreddit. And I really think that H1Z1 is right where DayZ was in its first few months after the alpha launched, where they're having to reorganize and rescale the project. And meanwhile, the community is just totally freaking out and having to fit over every little thing that's done. I think that H1Z1 is going to follow in the footsteps of both Rust and DayZ, and we're going to see a significant engine overhaul, significant map expansion, but it's going to be a long, slow process, just like DayZ and Rust.
I feel like H1Z1, they were so polished when they started showing it off the footage, and so I think they gave that really quick release window. And then they're like, oh crap, we're not ready. And then they like scrambled over the next few months to get stuff in. So what could have been a really good launch and a really good working engine ended up being just as bad as any other early access game.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with early access is it provides the developers with a lot of great information.
It does.
Like real-time information. And then they can develop around that information instead of just building a huge product and then releasing it into the wild for a few days and then coming back with this little bit of information, but it's good enough, which was what Battlefront did, which I kind of like better than just having an open access or an early release just out there. Just because it's giving you a really bad impression of the game because people think, oh, it's on Steam, it's complete. Like that's just the mindset. And it's not. You know, even though you get warning after warning, you're like, hey, this is an early access. You hit OK. You just hit OK because you want to play the game. Let's be honest. No one reads that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like with a lot of especially the online games, is in early access, I feel like I see much more hacking than in the final games. I mean, you still see it in GTA. You still see it. Red Dead got awful at the end. Like there was nothing but hackers playing. But I feel I feel like when you go into that experience and you see hackers, you're like, ugh, I don't want to play this. This is just going to be annoying. So that becomes your mentality of what the game's going to be like, and you just lose interest in going back and playing it later, maybe after they've fixed any exploits.
Go ahead, Debbie.
With early access, it also funds the rest of the development.
Yes.
So what they do is they get an idea out there, be like, hey guys, here's what we're working on. We're going to release it to early access. You buy the game and basically you're backing, like that's like a Kickstarter thing. You're backing that game for the rest of the development.
But do you think it hurts, like in DayZ's position, does it hurt them when they have to spend so much time doing patches and patch notes and fixing patches and stuff for those releases for beta? Is that pulling away from the time where they can actually spend developing the final product?
I have a feeling they would have had to done that anyways, because you can only do so much load testing within the confined development structure. Yeah. So you do that load testing, so you do have to fix bugs that you create. And, we fix one and 100 more pop up. So that's just the way of development.
The only problem is when you kill off your base, then your load testing goes out the window.
That too. So it's a risk. It's definitely a huge risk.
Yeah, I bet, Jeremiah, that it does hurt you maybe like 10, 15% on your schedule for releases, but you'd have to hit those milestones internally anyway. There's not too much extra work that has to be done for the public-facing updates. It's just that maybe some of those hot fixes wouldn't be as important. So that's maybe where the 10 and 15% of extra time might come from.
Maybe. Now, if they had, go ahead.
I'll say, I don't know how much it slows them down. It just seems to me it has to slow you down somewhat. Of course, they're not going to tell you that really, and I don't blame them, but it has to slow them down, having to constantly pay attention to the community and listen to the community and stuff, where there's probably stuff where they're going, yeah, but okay, but that's all going to be better. You don't understand, just wait. And we could totally give you something awesome. And the community's just going, now, fix it now. Why is it broken? And, I feel like sometimes they'd probably be at benefit if they let us play less. That's the only thing I'm saying with DayZ. Maybe in DayZ's case, maybe if they did like open weeks, like once a month or something, who knows? I don't know for sure, but I feel like they probably could set it up so they were getting slowed down less, but maybe they don't care. I mean, maybe it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think now it doesn't matter as much, but maybe if they had somehow seen how big DayZ was going to become sales-wise, and also when the scope of the whole project was going to change, if maybe in the beginning, maybe the first year, they had done like Squad did recently, where Squad had a closed alpha that would go up every 2 weeks on Friday night with a new version of the game. The servers would go live like Friday at 8 p.m. and would go through Monday at like 5 a.m. And they did that for 5 months. I like that, actually. I like Squad. That. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of thing, though, you have to plan ahead for that kind of development. DayZ launched. Hey, here's the game, test it, play it, have fun, break things, go for it. Oh, we just sold 3 million copies. We need to hire 80 people and buy up 3 studios, spend 6 months training them, and rebuild our game. I guess we really can't take it all back now. It's like, oh crap. But if you can plan ahead for that kind of thing in early alphas, that worked really well for Squad.
Mm-hmm. Call that the potato mash approach, the way DayZ did it. You put something out going, maybe some people, aren't they? Oh no.
Maybe one day that'll be a verb. You potato mashered it.
Quickly bar the windows.
Main video is going to hit 500,000 in the next 2 days.
Wow. That's a lot of angry people.
It's a lot of angry people. Okay, you guys ready to move on to the news?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Dave, what is your news item this week?
Let me open up my link here so I can get the sockets right. But this This is kind of wild. I don't have the newest line of Intel CPUs. I got a used one when I built mine last year. But the newest Intel Skylake CPUs, they used a smaller, thinner wafer for the CPU.
The plastic bit everything goes on, for anyone who doesn't know what that is.
I was getting there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's not edible. It's the wafer for the central processing unit.
Okay,
That's the brain of your computer.
All right. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
All right. Can I do my news now?
Yes. I'm so sorry.
Intel shaved off, I think it was like 30 to 40% of the thickness of the wafer.
I picture them like with the thing going, shh, we're going to make this smaller. We're going to make this smaller.
They have these artisans in the workshop just sanding off like these whole things of wafers.
I want to see the guy that's like whittling.
That's probably
It was
AMD.
a lot of CPUs.
That's AMD. They're like, what will it take for you to appreciate us? We make them by hand.
Handcrafted in America. Well, Intel thinned the wafer, and now some of these huge, thick, heavy heat sinks and CPU coolers are bending and cracking the CPU wafers. And PC Gamer's got an article up with a bunch of photos. This is not a uncommon issue. It's actually getting worse and worse. According to Intel, the thinner substrate is still rated for the same 50-pound static load, but PC Gamer actually had one of their own computers crack as well. So they're hearing about it, and they lost a computer to this. The weight of some of the coolers, including the one that I use, the H90, just the clamp of the water block over the CPU with those 4 pins that hold it down is cracking CPU wafers.
I mean, what's the purpose of getting it that small?
You know that they saved like millions of dollars over the run of the Skylake CPUs by making the wafer smaller. You know that they were saving some serious money.
And the goal is to always go smaller everything, because that's more power efficiency, it's cooler, it's all kinds of stuff. So it's just apparently we may have hit some little threshold people didn't know existed. I don't know what other coolers they tested them with. I'm sure the stock Intel cooler, that pathetic piece of garbage, probably doesn't really mess it up. But I know like the Hyper 212, that is a tight clamp on that cooler. Like when you're screwing that down, it creaks the motherboard every time I install one. And I've never broken anything, but it definitely like is a little bit nervous the first couple times I did it. So with Skylake, maybe that's not a good idea.
Thankfully, although Intel has kind of maybe not anticipated this issue, a lot of the cooler manufacturers are picking up, can we call it the slack? It is a pretty big mistake. They're offering free, I believe it was either the pins or the mounting plate itself to help rebalance the weight and pressure for Skylake CPUs. You can get it for free. Just contact your cooler's manufacturer and they'll hook you up. If you have a Skylake CPU, maybe get the free part and swap it out.
Yeah.
Don't break your nice Intel CPU.
Yeah.
And instead of using like thermal paste, use like crazy glue. So when it does crack, it doesn't.
It fixes
crack too
itself
much.
if you use crazy glue. It just fills in the cracks.
Welcome to Computer Tips with James. He gets a lot of it. You like doing really bad advice. I've noticed that. You like giving super bad, like obviously bad advice, unless someone had no idea what you were talking about.
If someone follows that advice, I will personally smack them.
Oh, I thought you were going to offer to replace their stuff. No, you won't do that.
No,
You'll
heck no, I'll smack
okay,
them.
Sweet. Okay, that seems fair. All right. My item. This is just weird. All right, Corsair makes good computer cases. I like Corsair a lot. I don't think I've ever used something that Corsair has made that I've been disappointed in.
I have a Corsair case. I like them.
Which one do you have?
You expect me to memorize the model number?
Oh, okay,
of
that's
my
weird. You said you had a
case?
Corsair case. I didn't know, like maybe you seemed very proud of it, so I thought maybe you might remember what it was.
No, I like it. I love the cable management.
I will interject. The only thing that Corsair has done that was horrific was getting rid of their cool Corsair ship logo and going to that tramp stamp tribal tattoo for like 3 months. People
was
who were
it
like
that
returning.
long? I thought it was like a week before they were like, "We're so sorry. Apparently, everyone hates this obviously bad idea."
They stuck to their guns for it. Maybe it wasn't 3 months. It was over a month though.
Okay.
But people were like returning keyboards and stuff because it came with like this big tribal stamp.
It looked
Corsair
terrible.
Gaming.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Anyway,
So
Look like some kind of like winged creature flying towards you.
they've made these new ATX cases, that I'll be honest, I don't understand. The 600Q, the Carbide 600Q and the 600C, they're inverted cases. So there's already been cases, like Silverstone's made some, where the backplate of the motherboard is at the top, so all the heat exhausts out that way, and there's less load on like the PCI slots and stuff. Even though I've never broken a PCI slot by hanging a card off of it, apparently that's a thing people worry about. And so Silverstone made some inverted ones. Cool for them. Corsair just literally turned it upside down. So your CPU is now at the bottom when you put a motherboard in there, and the graphics cards are at the top. And this is supposed to be better for airflow and heat. Really, it's just where they happen to put the fans on their case, and then they flipped the motherboard upside down so the fans were lined up better. But looking at the pictures of the case, I can't imagine how that would be easier than just sliding the fans. So I think they're really just doing this to be different, and because it'll be that case where the motherboard is upside down. But like, can you guys think of any reason you would want a case where your motherboard was upside down, even for heat? Like, graphics cards probably make more heat than the average CPU, but
gravity reversal.
It doesn't hurt, right? It's not.
I mean,
it's not going to hurt anything to have it upside down. I mean,
no, it's not going to hurt anything. But like, can you see an actual advantage?
Well, wasn't there an updated ATX standard that was done in like 2006 that was supposedly, because it was mostly upside down like this design, it was supposed to be, I heard about this like a decade ago, it was supposed to be much more efficient for heat like this case, but because it was going to cost so much money for the manufacturers to retool their assembly lines, like no one was interested in switching over. I've heard this before, that flipping the PCI slots to the top is actually more efficient. And there's a reason that it's the way it is now. I think it has to do with server racks and like fitting the maximum amount of computers together or something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think there is actually something that supports the idea that the PCI Express slots on the top is actually better for heat. I've heard that multiple places before.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying I think Corsair's lying. I'm curious why they're doing it, saying, obviously this is the superior solution. This is better for heat and stuff. And they're just doing it now, but like not overhauling the rest of their line.
Yeah.
It seems interesting. No word on price yet, but I'll be curious to read some reviews of it when it comes out. What I'm more interested in are there any cables that are suddenly not going to be the right length? Like the longest cable stretch is normally the PSU to the CPU power at the very top of the motherboard. So that obviously there's going to be a lot of slack now, unless the power supply is mounted. Is the power supply mounted in the top?
Yeah.
So really nothing's different. It's just
literally flipped upside down.
I don't understand. We're going to move on. Debbie, there's a GTA Online update coming out the 15th. What's going on with that?
So today, Rockstar announced the Executives and Other Criminals update.
Which I really like the subtle name there. Like, it was a minute or two.
Why don't you read the title, Debbie?
What?
Why don't you read your title?
Oh, do you want me to read my title?
No, that's all right.
No, that's okay.
All right. That's all right.
Okay. I don't think I wrote that. I think Jeremiah did.
Yeah, I wrote the first part.
Okay.
He was a little excited.
Anyway.
Maybe a little bit. So it's basically everything we've ever wanted out of this game. Basically. Let me just give you a few of the little teasers they gave us. You can create your own criminal organization. So you can have a VIP and bodyguards that you can hire, and these bodyguards get paid in GTA money and RP, just like protecting you. So I don't know how the system works, but you get money.
That sounds like a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah.
All I need to hear is you get paychecks for probably playing the same missions I was going to be playing anyway.
Yep,
so
pretty much.
I volunteer for transport.
They have new houses and a super yacht.
The luxury yacht from that one heist setup mission you can now buy. Like, that's what it looks like.
I can see that just being an event, just going to the yacht and all of us hanging out on the yacht sometime.
Yep.
And the super yacht.
CSG Con will now be held on the yacht in GTA.
The super yacht is fully staffed. It's upgradable, and it comes with a helicopter and your own boat.
Your boat comes with a boat.
Yeah.
That's the type of rich I want.
Your ship comes with a boat.
That's true.
my
Your
God.
vessel comes with
I
a
can't
dinghy.
get through this without giggling.
It's like having a
It's so much
camper in a
fun.
car.
The part I'm the most excited about, this is what I've wanted since you guys have had to listen to me talk about this, like since GTA Online came out. I wanted one of those stinking mansions up in the hills I've wanted to own for so long. And it
Yep.
sounds like we're finally, I don't know if we're going to get a mansion, but we're going to get a large house of some kind, right?
Yeah. No, those are the mansions.
They are the mansions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that one on the far north of the map. But
Right.
It's yeah. It also comes with 5 new vehicles, including one turreted limo. So it's a limo with a gun on top of it. Transporter.
How many people can technically ride in it? Do you know?
It's got to be at least 4, I'd imagine. But yeah, it has a Gatling gun on it, and it's armored. So, Dave.
Dave.
We must drive.
And it's also going to come with new weapons and clothing items.
And there's going to be new free mode events
Yes.
where it looks like you pit your organization against others. So we're going to see how this update works, but we've got something in mind for a large scale multi-event community thing having to do with these criminal organizations. If it turns out to be good, expect some empires to be rising here in the near future. But I am like so incredibly excited. Wait till we get to the game of the year.
We can stop posing as a front of a podcast and really be the criminal gang that we are. Yay.
Just wait till we get to game of the year. Debbie and I probably are not going to shut up about how much GTA Online we've been playing this year. Oh my gosh, that game just keeps giving. Like
The gift that keeps giving.
I'm so
I said this earlier in our group thing, but I really like if they did in-game advertising, I would be perfectly fine with it. For as much free content as they give us.
Yeah.
Like if they did a mission where you had to like hijack a Pizza Hut car or something like that,
Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
And they also came up with a new adversary mode this week.
Oh, yeah?
Which I haven't played yet.
Okay.
But I really want to.
We're going to play it right after the podcast, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You know what's funny though, James? Like real world advertising would fit in super well in a real world or virtual city like in Grand Theft Auto. But can you imagine going to like Pizza Hut and so you're just like, hey, I had this advertising concept. You put billboards in our game called Grand Theft Auto. It's an online murder simulator. They're gonna be like, It's like when
but think of the cross promotions you could do at different places, like a restaurant that you could get free GTA money for buying meals or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
it'd be amazing, but the lawyers would freak out.
That'd be like the Call of Duty, power up your game. What was it called? When they started first releasing, there was XP points you could get in Mountain Dew. Bottle caps that kickstarted the whole Mountain Dew Call of Duty weird relationship. But yeah, we're excited. James, what's your thing?
So Rocket League is coming to Xbox One. Yay! Woo! But it's not cross-play with PC or PS4.
No!
As of current.
Which why? Did they say why?
No. I think it's a huge missed opportunity. I mean, the fact that the PS4 and PC could do cross-play has been huge for us. I mean, I bought it again just because I knew that if everybody's playing on the PS4, I can go on the PS4 if I'm playing on the PC, but we can all still do the same matches. So our ability to do our tournaments, our ability to play with people that don't necessarily have gaming computers but still listen to the podcast has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why Xbox. You would think Windows 10. You think that would be like the perfect fit.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope we get to hear more about that sometime in the future. Because it seems like such a very, very odd thing that they're doing. And
I don't know if it's a limitation that they're facing in developing it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I doubt Microsoft is saying no.
Yeah.
It says it does, according to them, according to their tweet, it says Xbox platform does not allow for cross-play matchmaking between other systems.
Does not allow.
As a general practice across all titles.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's probably a rules thing, not an actual capability thing. Huh.
Wow.
But that's probably going to change.
You think so? You think Microsoft
if it's not a limitation, I think that'll change.
Microsoft, are you kidding me?
Because I mean, think of how many people will say, "Yeah, I don't want to buy the Xbox One version because I can't play with my friends on here or there."
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, that's what I thought. Is it's going to cannibalize Xbox One sales. I mean, it's great that it's coming out on Xbox One because more people get to play a really awesome game, and that's awesome, and they'll support the developers and everything else. But not being able to have them participate with everybody else who's playing it on the other platforms does seem kind of weird. But I mean, that is the
only reason I would consider buying it, and the reason Shane's going to buy it, of course, is to get the Warthog.
You don't think that'll be in the PS4 version of the game?
No, the Warthog from Halo.
No, I know. You don't think they'll put that in the PS4 version? Just come with the
No,
Halo
well,
pack?
no, it's a Microsoft exclusive.
Yeah, it's Microsoft IP. That's not going anywhere else. But you brought that up, James. Joel was talking last night. We were playing Battlefront. He's like, if they released a complete set of like Star Wars cars and X-Wings and TIE fighters and stuff, like were your cars in Rocket League, he's like, I would pay $60 for that. I'm like, we know you would, Joel. We know you would.
What wouldn't
already
Joel
got a
pay
separate account for
$60
that.
for? Yeah, what wouldn't Joel pay $60 for, though? That's the thing.
Yeah, twice sometimes.
The ability to play his PC downstairs. Been trying to get him to buy that Steam Link.
Yeah, but you know the latency will end up being terrible and he'll hate it. Because like he'll have crappy home internet or something and it'll be bad.
Because he
All you
won't
have
stop
to do is use
Dropbox and he'll just
Power
hate
line
it.
over Ethernet. Yeah, that'll probably be what it is.
Yeah.
I do want to add that
Yeah.
Microsoft kind of... They said something this week that is going to end up being nothing, but the fact that they're releasing Minecraft on the Wii U, Microsoft said, we'd love to have Nintendo games on Microsoft console, which more than likely will end up being, something from Perfect Dark or something from that time period, if anything. But, yeah.
All right. Next, at PSX this past week, some PS2 games have now officially been announced, and they are going to be running on the PS4, but they are not re-releases. They are emulation. So it's the actual PS2 versions of the game running on PS4 hardware. So it's not that many yet. It was first uncovered with the Star Wars games that came out to help promote the movie. A bunch of old Star Wars games were released in the collection, and they were all running with like PS2 memory card emulation, and they had like the PlayStation logo, and like it's the old games that are running with good frame rates and at higher resolutions and anti-aliasing and things like that. So now a bunch of Grand Theft Auto games, Vice City, San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto 3 are now all available for prices ranging from $10 to $15, and there's a lot more PS2 games that are going to be coming to PS4. We don't really know how many yet, but it's pretty cool because it's not just backwards compatibility. They're getting trophy support and they're running with better visuals. So it's pretty cool. It's not like a remake. It's the original game. So I'm kind of excited for maybe a Need for Speed Underground 2. I would really, really like to see that happen, but some people online are upset that the games are that expensive because they are $10 to $15, which of course is a ridiculous thing to be upset about because, I mean, James, you're old. Have you ever bought a movie on VHS and then you bought it on DVD when that came out?
No.
Really?
I don't think I've ever bought any VHS movies.
I
I don't think I have.
You've never bought
I've
a
had
VHS?
I've had a DVD player since a long time.
Yeah, but
I mean, I've had,
VHSs were around for the 15 years before that when you were like a kid.
I also wasn't buying my own movies then.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sorry. I was trying to just make that a humorous illustration.
Yeah, well, screw you.
All right.
And your nice haircut and nice shirt.
I've bought movies on VHS, but I don't get the free DVD version when that releases, even though it looks better and everything else. Even though I bought it once, I don't get another free version. So if you are upset about the fact that you have to pay for this game that came out 15 years ago, you have to pay for it again. If you want to play it on a completely different system, shut up. All right.
I think the thing that some people are upset about is the fact, well, number one, the prices have gone up from the PS3 versions that you can get. Mm-hmm. When you download a PS2 game on the PS3, they're generally about $10. But also, if you've bought it, they haven't said that if you buy it on one, you get it for the other, like they do with most cross-buy games that they do. Mm-hmm. So the only thing I wish they would do like Xbox does and do disc purchasing. Like if you have the disc of it, it automatically allows you to download it from their store.
That would be nice.
I mean, because I've got over 100 PS2 games that I would love to be able to just, pop the disc in, download it, and be able to play. I mean, it works well on the Xbox One. Mm-hmm. With the Xbox 360 games to where you have to have the disc in so you're not just putting it in then taking it back to the store or something.
Right.
But yeah. We'll see. We'll see if that. I think that could probably change.
I'm excited.
I think they'll get enough feedback.
You think so? I'm excited to see what games are coming out. Like if it was some games I was really excited about that I used to play back in the day, I'd drop $10, maybe $15 on a game or two. Like I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. All right, Rise of the Tomb Raider came out to much critical success. But it came out the same day as Fallout 4. And it has sold to date about 400,000 units, which is really bad.
I like the way you have it written in the chat, or in the docs better.
0.39 million units.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks even smaller when you put it that way.
That's bad. That's a failure. That's a huge failure. I believe
it's sad because the first game was amazing, and this one looks really good too. But
this
I'm
one's
already
supposed to be
seeing
amazing.
$40 price drops.
Yeah, because I mean the release date was set so far in advance. It's not like, what are you going to do? You're going to move it to release at the same time as Call of Duty. I mean, there's either you move it to the spring, and they probably didn't want to do that because they've got that 1 year exclusivity on this platform, so they probably didn't want to cut into that by a few months. So either you move it to the spring, or you release it when it's unfinished. You release it early, or you just bite the bullet and hope it has a long tail on it. But unfortunately, I mean, that's really, really bad for the game. And it sucks because the new Tomb Raider game, like the first one, just Tomb Raider, was really, really good. Like I've played most of the Tomb Raider games, and that was one of the best Tomb Raider games they've ever made. And supposedly this one like continues that and is really, really awesome. And a lot of people aren't going to play it. And Square Enix specifically said when the last one came out, it needed to sell 5 million copies to be a hit, and it didn't.
Well, I mean, it being that how long is it exclusive for?
A year, I think.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So is anyone going to be talking about it when it comes out on the PS4 and PC? I mean, I'll make a potato masher video, but
Well, I mean,
Steam
the tough thing at that point is when it comes out on the other platforms, then you're expecting a cheaper price for the Xbox One.
yeah.
So you might actually see a little burst in sales for the Xbox One version, unless they do definitive versions.
Yeah. Definitive these days just means it has all the patches now, plus a few DLCs we threw in there because we feel bad about it not having all the patches when it released. Like, that's kind of definitive edition these days. All right. It's now mail time.
Mail time.
You can write into the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like Nate did. And Nate said, "Hey guys, love the show, and I have a suggestion to make. I'm going to build my first gaming rig, but there are a lot of deals on parts coming up on all these websites, and I never know if it's a good or bad deal, or if there's a better deal somewhere else. Sometimes I don't even know where to look for deals because I'm only dipping my toes into PC gaming. So my suggestion is that maybe you have a section on the podcast where you highlight deals on parts, peripherals, games, etc. for the week or month. I think this would help people like me who are just getting started and don't know where to look. Thanks." I thought that was actually a really awesome suggestion. Especially if you're planning on building a computer this time of year, like there are a lot of deals this time of year. And the place,
I really want that Alienware.
the place I would suggest you go to is reddit.com/r/build-a-PC-sales. Slick Deals is also pretty great, but they're not just computer parts. This subreddit is just computer parts. You can even filter by the parts you're looking for. So we're not going to like read through the whole homepage right now or anything, but I might highlight a deal or two from time to time. If you're looking for, like, if you're putting together a computer and you're curious what there's really good deals on right now, SSDs have been going nuts the past month or so. Right now, you can get an 850 Evo, which is a really awesome Samsung SSD, a 500 gig with Assassin's Creed Syndicate for $138.
Is that the one you were holding out for?
No, I'm getting a terabyte.
Or you're holding out for the 1 terabyte?
Terabyte. Yeah, I don't want to jump from 240 to up to 5 because I'm going to want a terabyte again in a year or two. I'd rather just go all the way. So,
and then Jeremiah, for budget builds too, on Slick Deals right now is a 120 gig SSD for $35 shipped.
Yep.
For your budget build, another $30. You got an SSD for your boot drive. Done.
So if you're wondering, all right, what SSDs are good? Samsung 850s and 840s, both the Evo and the Pro, those are really good. SanDisks are a little more budget, but they're also really good, and there's a lot of sales on them. There are plenty of other good SSDs, but those are the two that are consistently on sale. If you wait a week or so, the SanDisk 1 terabyte or 960 gig SSD has been hitting $200 pretty consistently.
It's ridiculous.
Which is fantastic. So if you're kind of in the mood for that, there aren't any amazing sales on graphics cards right now. There's some pretty decent stuff, but like nothing's gotten a massive price drop recently or anything else. But SSDs, it is definitely a good time to buy SSDs. I would say, and this is something we talk about off the air, but since our podcasts are, weekly and not necessarily timely to deals, I would say make sure to follow us on Twitter and stuff like that, and maybe we can start feeding. I mean, I know Dave and I look at deals all day long.
I never stop looking at deals, really.
Yeah, Dave's looking at deals right now. You can tell he's not looking at the Skype window.
Can't look away.
But something a little more timely, like when something pops up that's really good that people should just, buy it. Don't research, just buy.
Don't
research,
research,
sharing
trust
that kind of
us.
stuff.
Trust us.
Yeah.
No, dude, that deal on that camera,
we'll collect that shill. Oh yeah, I felt bad, I didn't feel bad because we were just like, buy it now, don't think, buy it now.
Friend of the show, Pierogi or Amelia, we have like a group chat thing that was going on, and she mentioned she was looking for a camera, and we've been talking for the last couple of days trying to find her like the right camera, and she was going to want to get something kind of small and portable, and we kind of narrowed it down, and then Canon, for Black Friday, I think it was, had a sale on their...
Yeah, they're doing all the refurbished...
On their... it was before Black Friday, a sale on refurbished DSLRs. Okay, just so you guys can see what craziness was going on. And when Canon refurbished, like when something's on sale, there might be 3 of them in stock. Like they're not messing around. Like they literally just look in the store and they go, all right, this is what we got. And then it might sell out in 2 minutes. But they had... Canon T5s, so it's a consumer DSLR, but a refurbished Canon T5 with an 18-55 and a 55 to 250 millimeter lens. All of that for $220, which
legit.
Is insane. The MSRP on the telephoto lens by itself is like $200. Like that's a deal so good. And everyone in GroupMe, we just piled on. We're like, buy now. Don't think. Put it in the cart. Do it.
Consumerism.
It won't be there.
So
pull a Joel.
So if you want that, follow us on Twitter at casualshenanigans. No, we might highlight a couple good deals because he's got a solid point. Like it can be sometimes hard to know where to get good deals. Amazon is trustworthy. Buy from Amazon. Newegg is also pretty trustworthy. Buy from Newegg. If you only could buy from 2 places, those are 2 pretty good places. There are other good sites too, but like
maybe we'll do a casual conversation about how we shop for stuff.
I mean, we
at some point,
just like computer parts or stuff in general.
Just deal finding.
Okay,
in general, sites that are reputable, sites that may be a little more questionable. Our personal workflows on how we find deals.
The G2As and the Jets
I have systems.
You have systems?
I have a system.
I want to learn.
Dave has a system.
I feel like this should just be a podcast that you and Dave do.
I mean, I'd be down with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have a lot to really contribute. Also, for video cards, one last thing. EVGA B stock. You got to wait a little bit before they have your card that you want in stock, but EVGA B stock cards are the best deals I've ever seen on video cards or the stuff that goes on in there. It's not uncommon to see refurbed EVGA cards from them with a warranty for 60% of what they're going for new. Like it happens on a pretty regular basis. So they may not have the card you're looking for, but if you watch for just a little bit, you'll see there's some pretty awesome stuff. So it's now time for a Weird Strangers weekly email. Hey, Shenanifilthies. Her subject line is hashtag James nicknames. I'm making it a thing. She's the only one who used the hashtag James nicknames. So on Twitter, she sent in a bunch of them. They're all terrible, as we'd expect.
I'm not
Nothing
hurt.
less from her.
We lost audio.
I can't hear you,
audio.
James. You're. Oh, wait. Did we just have massive desync on the video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skype just freaked out.
That's weird. Okay. So hey,
everybody's writing in now.
Hey, Shenanifilthies. I'm disappointed that I'm the only one using hashtag James nicknames on Twitter to guess James' least favorite nickname. It would be so much funnier if everyone made suggestions. If we all came together and work as a team, we can really annoy the shit out of Jamesy Face. Who knows? Maybe one of these James will stick. Maybe his family is already calling him J Swizzle. They're not. You don't let your kids listen to the podcast, do you? Not that they would care.
No, not so much.
Didn't think so. Cool. All right. This week's rankings of favorite Shenanigans. Number 1, Shenana James. Yeah. You remembered your promise to mention my super awesome gamer tag every week. Also, I'd like to say thank you for fixing Stitcher. Oh, Stitcher apparently works again now. I really enjoyed your Potato Master sound effect. You should just record it and play it regardless of how Jeremiah feels. I've noticed that when I curse on my emails, it makes you laugh, and that makes me laugh, especially since Jeremiah doesn't even read the actual curse words. I don't know why, but people always get a kick out of my cursing. I guess I'll let it slide that you called Shane your favorite fan. I think we all know the truth about who your favorite fan really is. Number 2, Shane. Poor defenseless Shane. Some friends you have, right? I wanted to put you in first because I felt bad for the way you were treated last week, but you're not James. I recommend a thorough reevaluation of your friendship. Let me know if you need help wading through all the bull. Number 3, Debbie.
Oh.
You're number Wow. You can tell she feels touched to be in the rankings here. All right. Again, better than Joel, but you're not James. Are you going to be in the next Rocket League tournament?
Yes.
I would love to be.
She needs to get those aerials.
I'm trying to do my aerials, guys.
Number 4, Dave. You're not James, but you're also not Jeremiah, and that's really for the best. Thanks for
I really
teaching-
try hard to not be Jeremiah whenever possible.
Thanks for teaching Jingle
got that
James
glorious
to play
beard,
Rocket
I
League.
mean,
I don't want to
it
hear about
helps.
beards right now. But don't teach him everything. I'd like to beat him at least once. Maybe Jeremiah should take over training James, then I'd have a better chance. Whew. Number 5, Joel. You're not James, but you are Joel. Damn it, Joel. I like that I can say almost anything here, and if it doesn't make sense, everyone will just assume that it's something that you've said. Anyway, thanks for keeping your flutter butter in check. I know. I'll be less opaque next time. He said flutter butter. Do you remember that? It was a couple weeks ago. I don't even remember what it was in reference to, but he definitely said flutter butter.
Of course he did. Of course
All
he
right,
said
number
flutter
6,
butter.
Jeremiah. You're not James. You threatened me on Twitter. You never sent me any raw audio, and your last podcast had a weird echo throughout. That was definitely on your end because of your suggestion, I went back and listened to snippets of the podcast over and over and over again. There's a very slight mic bleed when James is talking sometimes because his gate's open, but there's no echo throughout the entire podcast. Surprise, surprise, Jeremiah dropped the ball again. Is there anything you can do? Also, I can't help but feel like you tricked Grunt Boy into being on the show last week. Maybe he's young and I even trust you. I could tell my email was read by at least you and Joel well before you extended your invite to him. Some friends you are. And again, seriously, sweet and sweat are 2 different words. I don't want to have to put pics in my email, so I'm going to need you to brush up on your reading skills. I may have mispronounced something. Please try to be more like Vajay
Jeremiah,
James. Vajay James.
What was the context of that? It was what was
That's the thing. She writes these emails. I don't remember anything she's talking about.
No. When we were playing Rocket League the other night,
Yeah, I think
Joel was saying something about popping it. I don't remember what he said. He said something like doing the J or something like that. I don't remember.
That's
God,
like
it was
something Joel would
awkward.
say.
I said, Joel has a vajayjay. And I guess it's stuck.
All right.
That's really awkward.
So
do you guys?
Huh?
Is the email still going? Is
yeah.
it still going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In conclusion, James is awesome. I think we should again give him a confidence-building round of applause and chant his name. This time, maybe Dave will cooperate at the start. James.
James.
Yay, Shenanigans James.
James.
That's all the enthusiasm you'll get from me. You're welcome, a weird stranger.
Jeremiah, do you realize that they've created a new podcast game for the viewers and the listeners out there?
What's it called?
It's a game that all you guys can participate in where you email in to casualshenanigans@gmail.com with fake issues from the podcast feed where Jeremiah will obsessively pour over the file over and over again. You can make up fake echoes, fake glitches, missing tracks, coughs, sneezes. Really just send them all in and make him spend a lot of time on this podcast.
I keep hearing this clicking around 38 or an hour and 22. I can't remember which one it is. You might have to listen somewhere in between.
Both. Yeah.
Then she adds in a nice PS that I'll send to the rest of the hosts later. Thank you for writing in, and thank you for the nice PS. And the rest of you, other people can write in. If you don't want me to read her emails, you guys have to write other emails for me to read, so we don't have to listen to hers. That's right. I'm threatening you guys now.
I mean, it's ending in chanting my name. I'm cool with reading.
As long as we chant your name, you're cool with it.
Yeah, I mean,
All right. It's now time for the Potato Masher. The game we have.
potato masher time.
James, is that how you mash potatoes? You don't actually mash them. You just like do one huge plunge with the masher.
That's how Jeremiah does it. This big grizzly
It
hands.
sounds like you just throw it on the floor, like.
Why?
I mean, who spends their time going like this? They can just throw it on the floor and just splatter.
One
and
smash,
scrape it
you're
up.
done. It's time to eat.
Yeah, what's the guy? What's the guy's
One
name?
30-second smash
Gallagher?
and it's time to eat. That sounds about right. Dave's a simple man.
I didn't
I'm
say
not a
any
man
30
with
second
big
smash.
needs.
I said one smash is time to eat. I don't know where you got 30 seconds from.
I wasn't listening that closely. That's probably why. I was getting the video ready. All right. So Assassin's Creed Syndicate on the Potato Masher. You guys got the video file?
Yes.
Today we're going to be looking at Assassin's Creed Syndicate on the PS4 and the Potato Masher. In case you don't know, the Potato Masher is a $350 PC custom built in December of 2014 and designed to compete against the PS4 for the remainder of its life cycle. The goal is not to make fun of consoles, but to show that PC gaming can be just as affordable and just as good, or better, than a console. It's a project run by the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast, so click the link on screen if you want to check that out. There's also an FAQ video if you want to know more about the Potato Masher. Let's get to it! The PS4 runs Syndicate at 900p and 30 FPS. I don't generally like to run the Potato Masher under 1080p, as that is a very standard PC resolution and is the target that both current-gen consoles aim for. At 1080p, I played the initial sections of Syndicate with everything on high settings on the Potato Masher. It appeared to be running pretty well, but as soon as I stepped outside, the game started stuttering and slowing down. I dialed the settings back to medium and it ran fine again, so medium is where I left it for the comparison. That might sound worse than the Potato Masher normally handles games, but the Anvil engine the game is built on is very demanding. Last year's Assassin's Creed Unity had numerous performance issues on every platform. Most of them appear to have been fixed this year, but the game still doesn't run very well. It does look pretty good on the Potato Masher though. The PS4 version suffers from a muddy look to some of its textures. The main characters appear to have much lower resolution textures, even though the backgrounds look very similar. Some textures on the PS4 look just as good as the Potato Masher, while others are very blurry and ugly. The same is true for the shadows. The shadow resolution on the PS4 seems to be about on par with the Potato Masher, but not as many objects actually have shadows and they don't load at the same distances. Likewise, the PC version of the game appears to have more bloom lighting and specular highlights. That, coupled with the game running at a native 1080p, do make the PC version look noticeably crisper and prettier. I assume that there was a lot of custom optimization that was done to the PS4 version to keep the frame rate steady, and it did appear to work. Still, 900p and 30 FPS only 2 years into a console's lifecycle is not very promising. The Potato Masher doesn't meet Syndicate's 6GB RAM requirement, but it ran fine. The memory was full most of the time, so I do think the game probably would benefit some from more RAM. We know that a RAM upgrade is coming for the Potato Masher at some point. The last few months of game releases have showed an uptick in actual RAM usage in quite a few games, although most still continue to run fine on 4GB. Syndicate is a pretty good looking game, but the Potato Masher definitely has an edge in both resolution and visuals. This section will be short. The Potato Masher bottlenecked before it could reach 60 FPS. It was difficult to hit this target with previous Assassin's Creed games, and it's no different here. On very low settings, the frame rate struggled to do any better than 45 FPS. Even dropping the resolution all the way down to 720p didn't lock the game at 60, although it was much closer most of the time. The visuals really started to suffer though, so I wouldn't seriously consider running the game like this. At very low settings, the Potato Masher was playable at 1440p. However, the sacrifices in texture pop-in, shadows, lighting, and many other aspects of the visuals were pretty bad. Also, the frame rate dipped into the low 20s enough times that I wouldn't say that the game performed acceptably at anything above 1080p. On the surface, this is a disappointing result for the Potato Masher. While it did better than the PS4 in every category, it couldn't hit 60 FPS or 1440p, and usually it can. If the PS4 and Potato Masher are both pushed pretty hard for Syndicate, I'm interested to see how next year's Assassin's Creed game looks and runs. I'm honestly worried that the Anvil engine is too demanding for this application and that future games will have to make even more drastic compromises. Only time will tell, and I'll of course do my best to evaluate the games when they get here. If you enjoyed this video, check out the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast, the FAQ video, or look in the description for a link to the original build video. There will be a special video in the next month or so that looks back at the first year of the Potato Masher and lays out our plan for its future. Until then, let me know in the comments section what games you'd like me to see next. A few awesome subscribers have volunteered their accounts so I can test a few games that I don't own, so expect to see Rainbow Six Siege, Just Cause 3, and Star Wars Battlefront in the next few weeks. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. All right, now if you watch that on the podcast, if you want to see it in better quality, you should probably go check it out on my channel. I mean, and then like and subscribe while you're there.
It really helps them out.
But no, I mean, because the version that goes on the podcast is like a tenth of the quality that gets uploaded to YouTube for the main thing. So,
What was the anti-aliasing set at on the PC?
FXAA high.
It still looked a little jaggy.
It looked a little jaggy, and then the PS4 didn't, but that's because it was at a lower resolution upscale.
Oh, yeah, it looked a little muddier.
It all looked blurry. Yeah, I did think it looked a little jaggy, but there weren't many anti-aliasing options, so I couldn't really turn it up much farther. But I didn't think FXAA actually did all that much. Like, I wasn't that impressed by it.
Don't forget that FXAA does not actually re-rendered the edges.
Right.
It's a post effect that finds the edges and then blurs them. It's just after the frame is finished rendering. Whereas anti-aliasing actually takes place earlier in the render process.
Right.
So it's
like watching a 3D movie that's been
it's fake
done
AA,
after the fact
basically.
instead of shot in 3D.
Oh, I know it's fake, but I mean normally it does more than it seemed to on
like
Syndicate.
Frostbite's FXAA looks really good. Some people run just FXAA on Frostbite games, and it looks great. Mm-hmm. But here, it did not do that great.
It didn't, no. But yeah, the interesting thing is, like, I tested Unity when the Potato Masher first came out, but I didn't do a full test. I just did the quick tests I was doing when the early tests were pretty rough. Or pretty quick. I didn't go that in depth. So I didn't really evaluate a bunch of different resolutions and settings and everything else. I just saw if the game ran. But it's a really, really demanding engine. And supposedly it's not for Rainbow Six Siege. So I'm curious to try it out because it is the Anvil engine again. But yeah, man.
I mean, if it's so demanding, who is their target?
That's the thing is, I'm confused because it was designed, as far as I can tell, for Assassin's Creed, and the consoles can't run it. Like 900p struggling to hit 30 FPS is not good. Like that's not the goal for anything. So like I'm kind of worried. Like they're going to have to dial something back to make this work continuously in the future. Like this isn't good.
It's not apples and oranges for sure, but don't forget that DICE managed 900p and 60 FPS locked with Battlefront on the PS4.
Frostbite's
those games,
a much better looking engine too.
Yeah,
That's
fantastic.
a much more complicated world though than Battlefront.
It is.
Apples and oranges, but still something to take note of.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Done.
All right, and there's cool stuff coming in the future for the Potato Masher. But now it's time to talk about what we're playing this week. So,
Rocket League.
All right, James can go first. James, what are you playing this week?
I think I got like 8 hours of Rocket League in since last weekend.
You've definitely been bitten by the bug, I can tell.
It took a little while. I was actually very resistant to the bug, but I got bit. And now I've got malaria.
And you've gotten a lot better in a very short amount of time, too.
Yeah.
Well, until we played Shane, and that was all out the window.
Shane is eternal.
Shane.
I didn't play 2 days after that. After that night, Shane single-handedly was just destroying me and James.
Freaking Shane gave us freaking shame. So, but I did have fun. We turned on the mutators at the end after we lost like 30 times in a row.
It was good practice, if nothing else.
The unlimited boost. We were all just like flipping like and flying around in the sky. It was pretty sweet. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we did the unlimited boost, but also with like a lower gravity. So like you could do like these spins in midair, and it gave me a headache. Fun. It hurt my head.
Dave was ready to go.
Oh man.
I've also been playing. I played a little bit of Fallout. I tried Just Cause 3, and while it's fun, it just wasn't. There are other games that do what it does better for me, so I fell asleep a couple times here and there playing, as I do.
James, can you just do like a series of review videos where you just talk about how many times you fell asleep per hour? Like that's like the whole review standard.
Well, Dave, if you have narcolepsy,
That's what I'm saying.
My medical condition.
You embrace it,
just
James. Turn it into a standard. How many James sleep units per hour is this game like worth?
I've fallen asleep playing Fallout. I've fallen asleep. The worst was playing like Halo, because like when you get in the Warthog and you're just driving for a little while, like I'll wake up and the Warthog will be like running up a wall.
James. Oh man.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right, Debbie.
I've been playing this game called Grand Theft Auto 5.
Uh-huh.
It's really fun.
Uh-huh.
It's super fun.
Sweet. Have you played anything else?
Well, I played Rocket League with your guys.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Debbie cereals.
All right, Dave.
Pretty good mix this week. Witcher 3, Hearts of Stone DLC. I've played like 23 hours of Fallout 4 in the last 2 weeks and done 0% on the main story. But my settlement empire is legitimate. It is
That's so nerdy.
pretty awesome.
My settlement empire is legitimate. Recognize us.
When you're surrounded by layered walls and missile turrets, and there's actually supply convoys that go all across the wasteland, supplying all your settlements for you, and people just give you money for running such awesome settlements in-game, it's an empire.
Dave, have you seen how many settlements you can actually get in the game?
I'm still finding new ones. I've got probably 23 or 24 now. I don't know how many I have.
I've
It's a
read
lot.
that there's like 40 different settlements you
I've
can
got
have.
a lot.
I'm sorry, how many did you say, Dave?
23 or 24 going.
Dave, how have you not played like any of the main quests yet you have all these settlements?
Oh, because it's more
Because
entertaining?
of the 23 or 24 settlements, James, I've probably built up like 13 or 14 of them. Like when I built up a settlement, I was telling Joel, I build it like I'm actually going to have to live there. Every window is barricaded. Every possible weakness in the defenses is covered by a shotgun turret hidden in a corner. There's enough food and water and shelter. I reseal the roofs of destroyed houses. I reseal the floors. I provide, entertainment. There's radio rooms. There's a bar. There's a coffee shop.
You know, you could be like a civil engineer and do that for a living and make money. in
Yeah,
real
I'm
life
starting to
doing
think
it, right?
like Dave should just be switching careers here or something.
Dave, I sent you application links.
That's still open in a tab. I'm just saying.
It's gonna stay in that tab unless you do something about it.
Ooh. All right. Thanks, Mom.
Wow, I don't know if that was motivational or like you're picking on him or what. I think it was motivational. It was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was motivational. Let's go with that.
I think I got stuck on Fallout there, though. So yeah, Witcher, Fallout.
Rocket League.
We played a lot of Rocket League. James, I played today. I got the fire back. I was destroying. It was so much fun.
Is the desync better?
100%. Whatever was going on is gone. It's fine now. Me and Jeremiah played like over 2 hours of Attila. Lots of fun. We're still terrible at it. And then I played a couple hours of Empire Total War in the Civil War mod, which is still a lot of fun. So yeah, good range of games this week.
So when they come out with another Star Wars RTS, are you going to buy that and play it with Joel?
Oh yeah, he'll play
Until
it for a
his
few
eyes bleed.
hours. Oh, forgot about Star Wars. Joel and I played 3 hours of Star Wars yesterday on the PS4. And
Don't ever try to do the math of how much games Dave has played this week.
Yeah, I didn't eat dinner last night until like 9:45 because of Star Wars.
We shouldn't do the math on Joel either, Mr. I need all of December to focus on Norman. Nothing but Norman. Just laser focus on Norman.
Norman in Star Wars.
And Bloodborne DLC and Battlefront and Rocket League.
Oh, and me, Joel, and John played an hour of
Basically,
Bloodborne DLC.
Joel's playing everything except the podcast. Love you, buddy, if you make it this far, if you're not asleep already. All I've been playing, I got to play an hour and a half of Hearts of Stone of the Witcher DLC, that and Rocket League the other night, and a little bit of GTA. Gonna play a lot more GTA tonight, but I've just been I've just been swamped, man. I don't know. I'm gonna have free time at some point, but it's not yet.
Well, you were out of town last weekend too.
Yeah,
That doesn't help.
Yeah, but after we get moved, I think I will probably have more time to branch out a little bit. But till then, all my free time's
Maybe
free
you should
chat.
try sleeping in your free time.
I do sleep. I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. That's part of the reason I don't play as many games as you guys. Is I sleep a correct amount. Just throwing that out there.
Responsibility. Ugh.
Peasantry.
If everything goes well on Saturday, the car could be done.
Done.
Done,
Not just
done.
like
Done,
able
done.
to turn it on, but like done.
I
done.
already turned it on.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, but like
See-
all the pieces are in place.
Yes.
Nothing's gonna
Yes.
inspection worthy if you had to
Yes.
get inspected.
I'll have to pretty soon.
Jeremiah, that's how I enjoy extra free time on my weekends. I bought a used Honda Civic and I pop the hood once every 4 years.
And ignored all the little problems it has.
A
And now
little
it's-
steam cloud is not that big of a deal as long as you can part it as you're driving.
It's,
Well, you still
it's
see the
cute that
road.
you think that's all that's wrong with your car.
Look at your eye.
Well,
I'm gonna make Dave do recommended maintenance. If I have to show up at his house every Saturday with like a pile of parts, I'm like, hey buddy, get your coffee and your gloves.
That's the only way to do it because now that I'm not having to drive to work every day,
That's
it's
true.
going to get neglected.
I'll be showing up like, hey buddy, we should turn it on every once in a while so it remembers that you like it.
You're going to show up to my house and it's just like all the tires are deflated and there's like weeds going out of the
To be
hood.
fair, my wife and I are both gonna be working from home, and we're gonna have 3 cars between us. We don't.
All right, American.
Yeah, but the thing is, 2 of them are wildly like not inappropriate, but like not useful. Like they're impractical. 2 of them are wildly impractical. It's really like 1.5 cars because the other 2 are like quarter cars for as much as you can use them for. You and one friend can go somewhere as long as it's not going to be storming or any ice or anything that might like have water coming through the leaky tops or, none of that stuff. Everything's totally good. Have fun. And then we have just like one normal car, which has like 205,000 miles on it. So yeah, but I don't really know how we got to this point. But shout outs before we leave. So the Lootcast is December 22nd. There will not be a podcast the week after that because that Thursday would be New Year's Eve. There will be no podcast on New Year's Eve. So we're going to be skipping that week, but you guys definitely come out on the 22nd. The Lootcast is going to be a ton of fun. We'll be hyping it up again next week. Remember, if you want to play trivia and win games, you just got to hop into our Teamspeak channel sometime around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're not going to be doing trivia immediately. So if you can't get there till like 10, 15 minutes afterwards, go ahead and hop in. If you're in the lobby, we'll assume you want to play and we might drag in. You might get the chance to win stuff. Other stuff coming up. The beginning of next year, we are planning on more Rocket League stuff. We are planning on more GTA stuff. Things will be... We'll be doing more stuff. We're not going to announce anything concrete yet, but we've been talking about it. We kind of agreed to just... It's hard to plan stuff over the holiday seasons. It's hard to get people to come out for it. So we're going to not plan anything big until the new year. And then we've got cool stuff that's going to be going on. And with that, guys...
I'm excited for our
Yes.
January podcast.
Which
We
one?
talk about our
the game,
our
of, the year?
our
Yeah.
game- yeah.
Did you look at the
It's
questions?
been a good year, man.
No, not yet.
Okay, yeah, there's a doc in the current episodes folder. It's got the questions I want to talk about. Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about it. Like last year, it was like, oh yeah. I think I went with Dark Souls 2 as my favorite game. It was like, yeah, that was probably the one I enjoyed the most this year. But this year, it's like, holy crap. There have been.
I got some categories to add.
Okay,
It'll
you
be
should do
fun.
it. All right, sweet. Yeah, but oh man, it's going to be a good episode. So yeah, sometime around the beginning of the year, we're going to have our Game of the Year episode. And then there'll also be some interesting Potato Masher stuff getting announced. Interesting or stuff you'll hate. We'll see. But we'll be announcing it around then too. So thank you everybody for coming out. As always, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com or tweet at casualshenaniga. We also have a Facebook page. We also have a website, casualshenanigans.com. So find us in all of those places. You're probably already at our YouTube channel or you're on iTunes. So either one of those places you're at, consider leaving us a comment or a like. That actually does help us out. It sounds like a cliche and we make fun of it all the time, but it really does actually help drive the podcast up in rankings. So if you wouldn't mind leaving us a like or writing a short iTunes review, we really would appreciate it. We are thinking about also doing an FAQ video sometime early next year. So be thinking about that. It'll be a very general, ask us anything about basically anything, and we may or may not answer. So be on the lookout for that. And then Dave, what do you have going on your channel you'd like people to go check out this week?
Some Fallout mod stuff, actually. I couldn't resist cracking the hood really quickly, so I've been reviewing some mods. And then you and I are going to have our Attila episodes going up in the next week, so keep an eye out for those.
Yep, they're coming back by tepid demand. By the demand of a very few of you. Attila episodes are coming back. Thanks, Debbie. I really appreciate that.
What?
What do you mean, what? The thing you just dropped in GroupMe.
I didn't do it. Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah, that was me. Oh,
I
oopsie.
dropped it in there like 5 minutes ago. How am I supposed to remember?
All right.
What I did 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right, fine. Thank you to everyone who listens to us. Thank you to everyone who watches us. Thank you to everyone who donates to us on Patreon. It's not that we couldn't do the show without you, but it makes the show a lot better, and it has made doing aspects of the show a lot easier. So very, very big thanks to you guys, and we appreciate all of you. And until next time, Debbie, what should everybody do?
Stay casual.